All right, hey people. Today is September 11th, 2023. It's about 3:30 p.m. here in Indiana. My name is Chris Lucas. This is a Protestant View. Um, I thought I'd do a quick show today before I go to work. I just kind of woke up, and I don't even barely comb my hair. But anyway, I wanted to make sure I got this video in before I went to work. Just to do something for 9/11. And I have been covering 9/11 for 22 years now, trying to figure out what's really going on. And I just kind of thought, I know other people are like, where were you on 9/11? Right. And I can remember this very well because I had just gotten out of all this new age and the rave scene and everything, and I had been out of it for about 1 year. And when I left it, it was like I went from someone that like cussed all the time and all this other stuff to like one day I had an experience that scared me. And I threw away all my new age stuff, everything I had. I even threw away my guitar pedals and everything, all my electronic equipment. And I did nothing but read the Bible for about a year. Um, and about 6 months into this, no, hold on. No, it was about a year later, 9/11 happened. And I remember that morning because I think I was like, I had moved in with my mom and I was 26 years old about. And, she's like, Chris, we're under attack. And I'm like, I'm like go to watch the news to see what's going on, and there's already one plane that had hit the building. And well, she didn't say we were under attack. She's like, Chris, gotta come see the news. Then she goes, we're under attack. And I'm looking at the news and I'm like, by our government. And I had never said anything like that in my life up until that point. Like, I mean, yeah, I believed in like the Kennedy was probably killed by the government. There was some kind of conspiracy behind it. Maybe not the government, but it wasn't like how it officially went down, right? But like, I was never one of these people that thought, "Oh, this is a conspiracy. This is a conspiracy." Never. But man, for some reason, when I saw 9/11 happen, as it's happening, it's like I just knew our government was behind it. Um, because I had recently like was trying to support some alternative candidates for office and things like that, and I just started kind of seeing through everything, and I just could see what was really going on, and I was just convinced. And to be honest, I was shocked that other people did not see it. Um, because I really thought like when I saw this, like part of being a Christian was you're just like given this sight, and I just assumed all people, like as soon as I pointed out to another Christian, they'll be like, oh yeah, that must be what's going on. But I was really kind of shocked. And I just remember it was a really strange time for me because I felt like um I wasn't even sure if I was saved, it's like I knew Jesus was real. I knew God was real. I knew Jesus was the Son of God, and and probably God, from everything I was understanding. So I was like, um, so I just felt like everyone was probably like way ahead of me. So I was kind of stunned that no one like really saw that this like something was up. And and so after researching this for like 22 years, I just kind of see that people still haven't woken up to a lot of things. Um and one of the things I never hear people talk about is this guy Viet Din. um so that's Viet and then Din. This guy, it's really weird. You got all these like supposed truthers and everything that's like, oh my gosh, the dancing Israelis and the Jews and the Zionists and Larry Silverstein. It's all a bunch of Jews in on 9/11. And the one thing you never hear, and that's why I think most people are still asleep, because it's still the same people running the same scam, is what about all the Jesuits and Catholics behind it? And it's like, no, that's always silent, right? It's always those evil Jewish Zionists. It's never the Catholics, right? And one name, as I'm doing this for 22 years, Viet Dinh wrote the Patriot Act. Why is his name never brought up? It's always this Jew, that Jew, some other Jew, but never Viet Dinh. Well, Viet Dinh's a Roman Catholic. Why are you guys hiding his name for? All right. And and I'm going to read just a little bit like what I see up on the screen. It says, Dinh, after 9/11, Dinh conducted a comprehensive review of the DOJ priorities, policies, and practices, and played a key role in developing the U.S. Patriot Act and revising the Attorney General's guidelines, which govern federal enforcement activities and national security investigations. But look at all this other information I found too, because like right over here, it says, oops. I hate it when for some reason it wants to take me to this chat screen and I don't want to go there. Anyway, I can't expand it, but it says Viet Dinh is a Vietnamese-born legal scholar who is on the Board of Strategic Education. He is also Chief Legal and Policy Officer of Fox Corporation, where he leads all legal. I'm not gonna expand that, but I thought that part was interesting that he's the policy officer of Fox Corporation. And then right here we got this New York Times article, and it says the lawyer behind the throne at Fox. And I think I will go ahead and click this, see if we can read this article. Anyway, it says in early 2019, as the Murdoch family completed the $71 billion sale of 21st Century Fox to Disney, executives of the movie studio learned that someone was reading all their emails. And not just anyone. Viet Dinh, the Fox Corporation's chief legal officer and close friend of Fox chief executive Lachlan Murdoch, had brought a team of lawyers to investigate the potential and proper use of Fox data by 21st Century Fox executives. He is suspected of leaking to Disney while the terms were still being hammered out. A Fox spokeswoman said the studio's president, Peter Rice, the company's general counsel, Gerson, I don't know how to pronounce this last, protested that they were merely conducting a normal transaction planning and that Mr. Dinh was being so paranoid he might blow up the transaction. I just kind of think it's weird that this guy was working with Fox. At the same time, like Fox is so Catholic controlled, and then you got this other Roman Catholic doing it. Now, on this previous video I did a few days ago about the protocols of Zion and dispensationalism, I brought up this article about the Pope's commandos that a brigadier general named General Herbert C. Holdridge brought this up to Dwight Eisenhower on January 18th, 1959, talking about all these like Jesuits and everything working in the government. And he was like, can you please go and investigate this? I'm kind of going to keep this video short because I'm in a hurry to get to work. So I would love to explain more of that. But I do have the links in the show notes. And then I got Rome's responsibility for the assassination of Abraham Lincoln by Thomas M. Harris, who's also another brigadier general who oversaw the trial of all the assassins behind Abraham Lincoln's assassination, which were all Roman Catholic, which he details in his book, Rome's responsibility for the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, which I also got my show notes. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this stuff up is when you see this like most of the media, like Fox News and everything, is Roman Catholic ran. Even when you get these like little talk show hosts on there, like Jimmy Fallon and all these other people on all these other networks, they're mostly from Jesuit schools, Catholic educated. So, and then if you got your networks being ran by nothing but Roman Catholics, you can see how maybe a Roman Catholic hand is in on covering this whole thing up, because they're everywhere. Like all it takes is these Roman Catholics to do their job, and then this would be exposed, right? And but it's not being exposed, and that's because it's not a Jewish hand that's saying, oh, we're not going to play this on our news station, we're not going to do this. It's always a Catholic hand. It's never a Jewish hand that's holding back the investigations, because when you look at people like our last attorney general, William Barr and stuff, Roman Catholic, these guys sabotaged investigations or wouldn't look into them. And so these people never get exposed because it's certain Roman Catholics not doing their job. And so I guess after all these years of me reporting all this stuff, I just start to see this same thing over and over and over again, where it looks like it's a Roman Catholic hand. You had all these people throughout history warning you, all these people all the way back from like Samuel Morse, the guy who invented Morse code. He wrote a book called A Foreign Conspiracy Against the Liberties of the United States. I'll just bring that up real quick. See here, that's on this book site called sorry man, this is being so slow. But anyway, right here's his book. It's called A Foreign Conspiracy Against the Liberties of the United States by Samuel Finley Breeze Morris, who, this is the same guy that invented Morse code, right? So he wrote this book in 1841. And the foreign conspiracy, he's pointing to the Catholic Church and the Jesuits being behind it. So that's like the inside of the book. See if I can just get to the. So it's like learning that you are about ready to publish a small volume, the article signed Brutus, which recently appeared in the New York Observer, showing that a conspiracy is formed against the United States by the papal powers of Europe. The undersigned who read these articles with interest have great satisfaction in expressing their approbation of your undertaking. These articles were written by a gentleman of intelligence and candor who has resided in the south of Europe and has enjoyed the best opportunities for acquaintance with the topics which he writes. While we disapprove of the harsh denunciatory language towards Roman Catholics, their past history, and the fact that they're everywhere and the fact that everywhere act together as if guided by one mind, admonish us to be jealous of their influence and to watch with unremitted care all their movements in relation to our free institutions. As this work is now to be published in a portable form with the additional notes by the author, we hope it may obtain an extensive circulation and careful perusal. So, I'm not going to read the whole book. I just want people to know, like, that this was a lot of these early American authors were pointing out that there's like a Catholic conspiracy to take over America. We know that all 10 co-conspirators behind the assassination of Abraham Lincoln were Roman Catholic. We also know, one more thing, recently we had a vaccine campaign, right? But guess who's always been behind it? Yeah, the Vatican. And here's a Catholic publication bragging that they've been having these vaccine campaigns for 200 years, offering punishments and rewards, right? and we know everybody behind it was a Roman Catholic. And then Trump's from Fordham University, a Jesuit university, and he's doing nothing but nominating Roman Catholics like Robert Redfield of the CDC, Roman Catholic, who got in trouble with military medical misconduct while he was in the military, and Trump still nominates him. We have Anthony Fauci, who went to Jesuit Regis High School, who's a Roman Catholic. We all the main people that helped fund the COVID and found funding for these companies were Roman Catholic. The guy who runs Bankel or Bancel, the BANCEL. We know that there's that video of him when he says, he had a good time with the Jesuits and things like that, and studying with them and things like that. We had Bill Gates' wife talking about how, she grew up, as a Roman Catholic. So we've got all this Roman Catholic influence all around us, but, everyone's still, never bringing it up, never talking about that. One of the most powerful religions in the whole entire world with over 1 billion followers, right? Not to mention that ecumenical movement and how they want to create a one world religion where they're uniting with Buddhist and voodoo priests and all this other stuff in these ecumenical prayers to create like this sort of like almost like the Pope's like the religious leader of the world, and they're pushing them up there, right? And all this influence. And it's like, when we watched what recently happened, with in 2020 and COVID and everything, and we remember what happened with 9/11, the same people, same players, and in fact, guess what? It was a Republican president when 9/11 happened, right? And George Bush, everyone hating him, and then it's like, but see, you gotta always have if you want to do this right, you got to have the Republican be the one who does it, initiates it, because that way it looks like it's something good. And then if the Democrats go along with supporting it, oh, well, this must be a legit thing because even the Democrats are going along with supporting it, like this war in Iraq and Afghanistan and things like that. Right there, you had George Bush doing it. Now you have Republican Donald Trump. It's not an accident that these guys were Republican when some of the biggest events happen. And part of the reason for Donald Trump too is everyone, they cry like, oh my gosh, you see these Democrats crying, oh, we just hate them. Well, it's fake tears. But Chris, they're trying to indict them and everything. It's all fake. It's all a show because it's to prop them up, to make them look legit. And they did the same thing with George Bush. People just cannot remember. But when George Bush nominated Judge Roberts to the Supreme Court, you had all these Democrats crying like, and people and Republicans cheering, we're winning, all delusional, just like they are now. But they forget. And it's like, but they nominated Roberts and like, oh, we're winning, we're taking control of the Supreme Court. And I kept telling you people, I said, do you look at his lower court record? This guy was pushing homosexuality and all this gay rights agenda. In fact, he won one of the biggest cases for the gay rights. And you guys are like cheering him like, oh, this guy's going to be like a conservative savior on the Supreme Court. But people would, like, oh no, Chris, you're stupid. They're crying. Look at the Democrats. They're crying. And they're doing the same thing to you guys now. And you guys won't wake up. It's like, like just because Donald Trump nominates people and people cry, have you really looked and investigated these people he nominates? Like a William Barr, who had a chance to arrest Clinton for MENA, had a chance to even arrest George Bush, George Bush Sr. over MENA too, because they were all in on it. And Ronald Reagan, they're all in on this, trafficking drugs in from Nicaragua and all these southern countries. and then they would send guns back out through these plane refurbishing sites and things like that, and it was going on in Clinton's backyard. But it's like Clinton's like, oh yeah, I know George Bush is doing this in my backyard, and I'm going to investigate it when I become president. And then George Bush is like, well, I'm going to investigate Clinton when I become, when I get reelected, and no one does anything. And Barr says, well, I'm just going to step back because I don't want to interfere in a presidential election. But that was William Barr's job to investigate crime, right? Going on, and wouldn't do it. And then you had Brett Kavanaugh, another guy Trump nominates, and he sabotaged the Vince Foster investigation. So it's like people just don't learn, and this stuff's been going on, and all this was like news headlines when Trump was growing up, because I remember this when I was a little kid. Donald Trump is older than me, so Donald Trump is at least in his 20s or 30s when he's hearing all this. So it's like, and he's reading Wall Street Journal and all this, and this is the headlines in it. So you can't go, well, Trump didn't know. Well, I mean, you guys have to be an idiot to even elect this guy and think he's a good president if he's that stupid. Like, what's he doing, playing video games all the time and just like got his head in la la land and ignoring the news for all these years, and you guys think he's going to be a good president? Or does he actually like pay attention? Because if he actually is like turning on the news every once in a while, he's going to know all this stuff. All this stuff is not new, right? It's like everybody knew about it. And for some reason, people want to pretend like, oh, no, this is like a secret. No, it was all over 80s news, 90s news. Everybody knew about it. And it's like none of this stuff is secret. And it's just like, it's crazy to think that people were still supporting Donald Trump, because I feel like you guys still can't learn, can't see through it, and to me, all this is about 9/11, because it's the same thing. It's like you're letting them play you again. And as far as this whole injection thing goes, there's a reason why they didn't want you to think it's well, there's a reason why they want you to think it's so safe, right? Because it's like and so rushed out. Because you got to remember, what did when they were having that conference, I think Fauci was at it, and they were talking about this vaccine platform where you could download it, right, and get it. So something new comes out, you can download it and have it immediately. Now, I want you to think about something. They didn't make several batches of this. I showed this in old shows of mine. You'd probably have to go look on the internet. I took them all off of YouTube, so you'd have to go maybe hunt them down on Rumble or Odyssey. But I had that one screenshot showing the whole diagram of the timeline off of Moderna's website, showing that they had one batch, it looks like. They got it right the first time, right? And the whole thing is, keep in mind that vaccine platform that they really want to get out, where they want you to be able to download it and have those and have that ready for you. And they probably have a reason for how do I put this? Because I'm trying to be careful with the censorship too, because I am broadcasting on YouTube. But the thing is, they wanted this platform to look super safe. So by having this timeline, they go, well, we had one batch. We got it right the first time. We had no other batches. It's not like they tested several batches. And they rushed it through testing. It's because they rushed it through testing, and it looks so safe. It looks so effective. Now, if they ever try to roll this again, they can be like, well, we can have it immediately. We can roll it out even faster because look how safe it was that time. I mean, I think that's what their whole goal is. And then if you have like Donald Trump, who was everyone's hero, and you're saying like, well, he was behind rushing it out because he keeps saying that's his mind warp speed. So you have to say, Donald Trump, you did something evil. But if he didn't do something evil by rushing it out so fast, and this is something we shouldn't be mad about him about, well, then now we gotta say it's fine. It's fine. It's great. We can do it even faster because we're not mad that he rushed it out so fast. We're not mad at Donald Trump. Not over that. Well, we might be mad over other things, but we're not mad over. Okay, so no Republicans calling them out over it, saying that this was wrong, evil, reckless, anything. But in fact, they're all cheering for him. Let's have a parade. We want Donald Trump back. Come on back, Donnie, come back. Because we're not mad about this, because we know this was safe. See, and that's what people aren't getting, because you're not getting mad at him. So they're making him a hero for all these other things. And by no one pointing this part out right here, this allows them to just totally gloss over all the other activities that look pretty criminal concerning this one thing. And now they have a foundation. You're helping them build a foundation to now have this platform that, wow, we got it right the first time. Look, no Republicans even mad at Donald Trump. And he's the one who warp speeded the thing, right? And no one's mad at him. And I really think when we don't call Donald Trump out over this, now it's gonna set us up, because now it's like, well, obviously, the Republicans would have been mad about it if this was so unsafe, and so we know it's not safe. That was never an issue. Not one supporter brought that up as an issue. Might as well, just make it faster and say this is the way it's gonna be from now on. And I think that's like the real bothersome thing about this to me. I know this video wasn't really all about 9/11. To me, 9/11 is about where people are going to wake up and see all this stuff. I mean, did you ever figure it out? Did you ever figure out what's going on? Did you always let all these stupid people like Jeff C. and TMZ and all these other people that I think aren't really the greatest truthers in the world? Did you always, or Alex Jones, who else, man? Who else? A call for an uprising. All these people that I think are just absolute idiots, right? Did you just keep letting all these people, No More News, all these people, you just let them just keep avoiding, the main topic, which is there's one power in charge that's been getting away with things, been organizing things, and always getting away with it for all these years. And we had constant Americans, bringing it to people's attention and people just ignoring it. But it looks like it's the same players over and over again. And then, now we got 2024 on the horizon. And I really worry about what's going to happen with America and the entire world, because because watching people not wake up to Donald Trump is, to me, the same. You're still not really awake about 9/11. You're still not really awake about 2020. Because if you're still promoting this guy and not calling him out and not calling out his backers, which is the Roman Catholic Church, because it's no accident they leave the southern border open. Is it a bunch of Jews trying to climb across the border? No, it's 90% Catholic over there, right? South of the border, 90% Catholic. If you promote, and the Pope promotes anti-gun laws, he promotes transgender, homosexuality, promotes papal vaccine, has a vaccine campaign, all this other stuff, right? Censorship. If you look at the Vatican Council of Culture, they promoted censorship. So now, if you got all these Roman Catholics walking in, are they going to support the same things that the Pope supports? Are they going to go support these Democrats that the Pope once supported? The same Republicans that the Pope once supported? Or are they going to be like, oh, we don't want this? And so I just watch America be conquered, and be conquered by stupidity and dumbness. And this ain't the best video because I'm in a rush to get to work. I only had 30 minutes to do it, so, and I got to get going pretty soon. But I'll try to read a couple of comments. Hey, Underground Publishing. He does a lot of interesting stuff if people want to check out his channel. I don't agree with him a whole bunch, but I think some of his stuff is interesting. But anyway, he says, "Have you ever seen Stan Montius' Brotherhood of Darkness?" Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. If you don't educate yourself on the coming Antichrist, all the church fathers believed in, you will always be stuck in the who done it land. Yeah, my whole thing is I think the Antichrist though is it's the Pope or the papacy. Um or else if it's not them, they're gonna set it up. I mean, it's one of the few. Um Yes, Nanya, I'm gonna have to ban you now. You're a Jesuit. You said you went to Jesuit Creighton University. Yep, gone. Nah, but you said you're a former Roman Catholic. You woke up, man. So that's good for you, man. Um, oh, Donald Rumsfeld was on the front lawn of the Pentagon picking up debris. John Arthur says the Vatican has to be the head of the beast. Yes, I agree with that. Me personally, I think the Vatican is the second beast of Revelation. The two horns like a lamb and speaks like a dragon. It's like it didn't. It's like I really hate the Seventh Day Adventist interpretation where they say, "Oh, it's America, and it starts out like a lamb and then it speaks like a dragon." It's like, nah. I mean, this was something that spoke like a dragon from its inception. Having that one guy that sits atop the whole church. That's nothing in the Bible about one man, except for Jesus. They got this guy, sitting at the top of the church, Christian church. I mean, to me, it kind of almost fits. The man of lawlessness, sits in the temple of God, claiming to be God. Um, but I mean, I'm not gonna say that's absolutely true. I'm gonna be a little open about it, but just to me, it's like if this guy isn't it, if this office is not it, the office of the papacy, I think they're definitely gonna set it up because people remember when they had that crazy 2020 Vatican nativity scene. And where it looks like space people and stuff. I mean, it's like, what's that doing in a nativity scene, right? I mean, that looks like spacemen or something. And that's supposed to be the nativity scene. And then it's just really weird because it seems like all that alien disclosure is like really heating up at the same time. Um, and then they happen to have that nativity display right as all that disclosure is like really heating up and seeming to come to the surface. So I always like wonder if this has anything to do with what the Vatican might be setting up or might be working to set up. But yeah, I think just gonna leave it up there because I really didn't even have time to make this one video, but I just wanted to try to make something for 9/11 and just share my thoughts. It's because it's like I honestly thought when I watched it live that more people were gonna like either gonna see it or at least when I pointed it out. Because I honestly at the time thought this is just something you kind of know when you're a Christian. You just like this stuff, you just see it. Um, and I was just kind of surprised at the pushback and how people just couldn't see it. And I'm like, um, yeah, like, especially the Democrats I knew. I thought maybe they would be rolling on it because I'm like, well, don't, because some of them like believed in the Kennedy assassination, and they already were mad that George Bush supposedly Rigged an election, right? Everyone thought that like he had something to do with his brother living in Florida, and the whole hanging Chad thing, and counting the ballots wrong, and so you would think that this happening, it's like, guys, you just said that this dude might have rigged an election, so um but yet you're saying that you support this war in Iraq, and you believe all this stuff about the twin towers and everything, and you just thought he rigged an election. It's kind of like with Donald Trump. You called him a Russian agent and acted so terrified about him. So I really thought, when my Democrat friends, when I suggested that, look, this lockdown and this virus is gotta be um it looks kind of scammy, And when I suggested that to them, they were like, "Oh no, we believe it." I'm like, "But you just called Donald Trump a Russian agent, and you were so mad and foaming at your mouth every day." But he said it. It's real. It's like, I guess $900 makes it real all of a sudden, right? Oh gosh, gotta trust Trump, and sell out, to get that check, right? And that just changes your whole mind. It's like money, right? You get that money, and it's like, oh, suddenly Donald Trump's telling the truth because he paid you some money. He's no longer such an evil Russian agent, is he? I don't know. I kind of, that just kind of upsets me. It's like people wouldn't. It's like even the same people that were skeptical of these guys, they suddenly, like start cheering for him, and just go right along with it, like, and just believe it just because it's on the news, and it just shows me that, especially like the Democrat mind, man. It's like, if it's on the news, it's like, oh man, that's real. Even if they hate the guy, even if they're like totally skeptical of him, it's like suddenly it's real. And even if you point it out to them, it's like they'll fight you hard. They'll fight you pretty hard. They'll fight you as hard as a Republican trying to point this stuff out. It's like, no, George Bush is, I think he might be behind. A Republican fights me hard. I felt like a Democrat fought me even harder on this. Like, man. And then I get fought even harder for Donald Trump pointing out to some of my Democrat, well, I guess acquaintances. I don't even know if I can call them friends. Acquaintances. There were people I hung out with, and no longer hang out with any of them. But I point that out to them, and it's like, wow, man, you guys are fighting me harder than even the some of the Republicans I know. You're more adamant about it. So, but anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that.